Greetings, Otaku Faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm here to bring you the first in my month of Miyazaki movie reviews. A month of Miyazaki is a special that I'm doing for the month of March 2012 on my channel, where each week I will upload a review of one of my favorite animated films from acclaimed Japanese director Hayao Miyazaki and his animation studio, Studio Ghibli. So, I want to thank you all for joining me again this week for my review of Princess Mononoke right here on Otaku Assemble Weekly. So, Princess Mononoke, I have to admit to you all that I'm very excited to do this review because this is in fact my favorite film of all time. This is my numero uno favorite movie of all time is Princess Mononoke. So before I get into this review, I want to let you all know that I will be following the movie review format that I usually do, and I will also be referencing the Wikipedia page for Princess Mononoke. I'm going to give you all a brief rundown of what the movie's about, and then I will a brief rundown into the history of the movie rather, and then we'll go from there in normal review format. So, Princess Mononoke is a 1997 epic Japanese animated historical fantasy feature film written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki of Studio Ghibli. Mononoke is not a name, but a general term in the Japanese language for a spirit or monster. The film was first released in Japan on July 12, 1997, and in the United States on October 29, 1999. Princess Mononoke is a period drama set specifically in the late Muromachi period of Japan, but with numerous historical elements. The story concentrates on involvement of the outsider Ashitaka in the struggle between the supernatural guardians of a forest and the humans of the Iron Town who consume its resources. There can be no clear victory, and the hope is that relationship between humans and nature can be cyclical. I think I pronounced that right. Okay, so that's a brief rundown of Princess Mononoke's history. So let's talk about the plot. Now, I pretty much, I just covered the plot, but I'm going to go in a little bit more detail and dumb it down a little bit more without giving any spoilers away. But Princess Mononoke, for all intents and purposes, it is the tale of Prince Ashitaka, who is a prince from a very small hidden tribe in Japan. Prince Ashitaka's village is attacked by a demon, and in the battle to save his people, he acquires the curse that the demon has. Pretty much what this curse has done is it's given Ashitaka monstrous power in the sense that he has become deadly at combat, and that he also has great speed and great strength. But at the same time, the curse is also killing him. The very thing that killed the demon, who was once a forest spirit, is also killing him. And so, in that sense, Ashitaka has been forced to leave his homeland and to seek out what caused that forest spirit to become a demon in the first place. This journey leads him to Iron Town, which is a very for the period, is a very modern town, a very technologically advanced town in the sense that they have iron and they have firearms, and they have been using their advancements to clear out the forest in order to mine underneath the ground for the iron so that they can make their weapons in Iron Town, but also so that they can sell the iron off and make profit off it to build up their city. And so Ashitaka's quest pretty much leads him across the country to Iron Town to hopefully make peace between the guardians of the forest and between the people of Iron Town. That's it. In the process, though, he meets Princess Mononoke, which is a title that's not her real name. San is actually her real name, and she is, in many ways, she is pretty much she's pretty much the princess of the spirits. She is human, yet because she is the adopted child of a forest spirit, she is kind of like their emissary, if you will. She is kind of the buffer in between the two. She is the bridge, and so she, just as much as Ashitaka, is a very important and very significant player in this game that is taking place. So yeah, that's pretty much the plot in a nutshell without giving too much away. Now I'm going to talk about the writing. I'm going to talk about the dialogue, but most importantly, one thing that I don't talk about much in my movie reviews that I really want to talk more about, and that I will take the time to talk more about in this review, is the themes. I don't discuss theme a lot, but I'll do that here. So actually, let me address theme first before I get into writing and dialogue. There are multiple themes at play in this movie, and for these themes, it's the reason why this movie is my favorite, because I identify with a lot of these themes. The major theme in this movie is the conflict between man and nature. I mean, that theme is so old. I mean, shit, I would say that theme is probably as old as human beings are old, but more so that struggle has become more prominent since the Industrial Revolution. We are talking about this conflict that man is making himself more technologically advanced, but at what point, at what price, and what are the consequences and what are the repercussions that these advancements have on nature. This whole idea about people who want to return to nature, want to be more close to nature, people who want to preserve nature, people who want to protect nature, and but on the counter flip of that, you have man who, in their eyes, many industrialists, they view themselves as hell. They're just trying to survive, or maybe they're doing it to make life better for other human beings. But then, of course, you also have those on the other side of that spectrum, in the more negative sense, who are doing it out of profit and doing it out of greed. This conflict is so old, and there are so many turns, and there's so many takes on the conflict, that Hayao Miyazaki, using this as the catalyst to tell his story, I really connected with that, and I understood it, and I really latched to it, and I really grabbed to it, and I really did enjoy that aspect of this film. Also, the spiritual sense, the spiritual theme about the great forest spirit, and about the other guardians of the forest, particularly the wolves, which I was also able to relate to, because the movie spoke to me in that spiritual sense. For many of y'all who don't know, I have a Native American heritage, and that was something that I could relate to in the spiritual sense, because I have studied Native American shamanism, and I've also studied Native American, the totem animals, the totem poles, the animals that you see on the totem poles, this is that and the other. And my totem, what I have selected to be my totem, but also the animal that I feel most connected to in nature, is the wolf. So to have a predominant character, a forest spirit of the wolf, the great white wolf, and also not just that, but a female wolf. We're talking about a mother spirit. She is mother to both her cubs, who are wolf spirits, but also to Mononoke, to San. And I was able to identify. She's actually one of my favorite characters, and I was able to identify with that figure. But also another theme that corresponds throughout the entire film is the theme of hate, the theme of, in essence, it's the golden rule. It's the golden rule at its core, but this idea that one person does to another, and then that person retaliates, and then that person retaliates, and what you do is you create a cycle of hatred that exists between those people. And what happens is, in the process, it doesn't matter who comes out on top, because in a way you have all destroyed yourself in the process. That theme, a quote from the film, which is one of my favorite quotes that I've ever heard, and it was actually the promotional quote that Toonami used when Princess Mononoke appeared on Cartoon Network, to see with eyes unclouded by hate. That is that theme that's very prominent in this film, and it becomes it becomes very apparent in the scene in which Ashitaka, what happens is, Lady Eboshi and San are fighting, and Ashitaka breaks them apart, and the demon manifests itself on Ashitaka's arm, and he says to the people of Irontown, he says, look, this is hate. This is what it looks like. This is what it does to you. It's killing me inside, and soon it will devour me. That scene embodies that theme. It echoes the theme in volumes. It speaks volumes about that theme, because let's face it, regardless of what Lady Eboshi and what San have done to each other throughout the film, their grudge, their hatred towards each other will destroy them all. It will destroy San, it will destroy Lady Eboshi, it will destroy the forest, it will destroy Irontown. And so Ashitaka, what he is challenged with is he has to be the voice of reason. He has to be the outsider looking in on this conflict, and he has to bring this thing to a resolution. And he has to do it now, because the major conflict of the film is that Lady Eboshi is planning an all-out campaign to destroy the forest spirits, to destroy the forest itself. But most importantly, she is trying to kill the great forest spirit, who is the life and blood of their world. So as far as writing and dialogue, I was another reason why this film is a favorite of mine is because I was stunned. I was completely baffled when I found out that the English version of the script was written by Neil Gaiman. And Neil Gaiman is one of my all-time favorite writers, and he is actually an idol of mine. When I found out that he was the one who wrote the English translation of this film, I was completely blown away. And he did a magnificent job. He did an incredible job. I can't stress that enough. The dialogue is very well written, and I would argue that there is no line in this film that does not have some type of purpose. Everything that is said in this film is leading up to something. It's all connecting. Even the scene when they're in the forest and Ashitaka is carrying one of the injured men, and then you have the ox driver who's making jokes as they make their way through the forest. Even that has a purpose, because not only is it developing that character who will come back and serve a more important role later on, but it's also relaying to the audience someone like him who grew up in Irontown, his mentality about the forest and the forest spirits, his perception of what they really are without him actually knowing. You see what I'm saying? Every line in this film is like that. There's no line in this film that does not serve some type of purpose, and I love that about it. So okay, and then the acting, the voice acting, beautiful. Voice actors especially, who I absolutely loved. Billy Bob Thornton, of course I'm talking about the English voice actors. Billy Bob Thornton, who does the voice of Jago, great. Jago is a character who we are introduced to him as a monk, but we find out later on that he actually has more power. He's much more powerful than he seems. Billy Bob Thornton as Jago, spot on. We have Minnie Driver as Lady Eboshi, which is probably my favorite performance in this film. Minnie Driver as Lady Eboshi. I don't think they could have picked a better actress, and she did. I love Minnie Driver. I'm a huge fan of hers, and she did a spectacular job in this film. We also have Jada Pinkett Smith does the voice of. I'm trying to remember her character's name. It's shit. Hang on a minute, cause I can't believe I forgot. Toki. Who, I mean, hearing Jada Pinkett Smith, another one of my favorite actresses, but hearing her voice on that character, that's what it's another example of what I've mentioned before in the past when I say a voice actor should bring life into that character, and she does. Her voice embodies Toki's character. Toki is a very strong woman, and hell, Jada Pinkett Smith is a very strong woman. And I'm not just saying that because I have a crush on Jada Pinkett Smith, which I do, but I'm saying that her as who she is as a person and who she is as an actress, she brings that into her performance as Toki, and it carries through, and I absolutely love it. The animation for this film, this film for all intents and purposes is a trendsetter. This was a film that was actually it made a breakthrough in Japanese animation. This film was one of the first Japanese animated films that incorporated CGI, computer animation in the traditional animation format. What I mean is this: there is no 3D animation in the film, but the scene in which is actually screenshotted on the Wikipedia page, the scene in which Ashitaka is shooting his bow, and the curse, the demon, is on his arm. That demon was animated on the computer. The rest of it was drawn by hand, but the demon was animated on computer. And when you see the 2D animation combined with the computer graphics, flawless. I mean, usually when I judge or when I critique a Japanese animated film, this is the film I'm comparing it to. This is the catalyst for what I think Japanese animation should be. And this was in 1997. This was 15 years ago, which I'm pretty sure they should be coming out with they should be re-releasing this film for the 15th anniversary. But this is what I'm talking about. Flawless animation. Also, the fact that Hayao Miyazaki, the way he does his animation, he will have, think about it in 3 grounds: foreground, middle ground, background. You have the computer animation in the foreground, you have the 2D animation in the middle ground, but in the background, all of his environments, they're painted and they're done flawlessly. Hayao Miyazaki, once again, another one of my idols, one that I look up to. I'm pointing to my Hayao Miyazaki portrait that I painted on my wall when I'm talking about Miyazaki-sama. But he is an expert animator, and I would argue that he is the best Japanese animator living. I would even go as far as argue maybe even the best of all time. That's not to take anything away from I'm having a brain fart right now with names, but that's just my personal opinion. The music in this film is also beautiful. I love the music. I love the theme song that plays. It plays at the end of the film, but it also plays during the. Well, it plays actually throughout the film. Now that I think about it, in multiple scenes throughout the film. Absolutely love the music. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap this video up because not just for time, but also I fear my camera may go out at any moment. My final thoughts on this film, like I said, it's my favorite film of all time, and I would go ahead and argue that it's the greatest Japanese animated film ever. This film, highly acclaimed. It won so many awards. If there was an animated category back then when this film came out for the Academy Awards, I would probably go ahead and say it would have won it easily. Because, I mean, it won Best Picture at the Japanese Academy Awards. So, and I mean, just all these awards you can see on the Wikipedia page. I mean, Jesus Christ. What is this? 30, 40, 50 awards? There's a lot of awards here. I mean, the film is great. The soundtrack is beautiful. I mean, this is it, people. Whenever I'm talking about Japanese anime, whenever I'm talking about Japanese films, this is the catalyst for which my critiques exist for the most part. I mean, this is Japanese anime at its best. If you all have not seen it yet, I highly recommend you all see this film. This film has inspired so many other films after it. It doesn't get any better. It really doesn't. So that'll do it. My final rating, 5 out of 5 stars. I mean, shit, if I wanted to break my rating, I'd say 10 out of 5 stars. I mean, this film, what else could be said about it? I could go, if I wanted to, I really could make this review an hour, but I'm not going to do that because there are so many other themes I didn't even touch in this review. So with that said, I'm going to wrap this review up. I want to thank you all for joining me for my first month of Miyazaki dedicated video for my review of Princess Mononoke. And with that said, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. I'm signing off. In the comments below. Let me know what you all think, and until next time, peace.